Howdy, it's Matt, and I am trying to get some of these models built at the moment, and this is what my desk looks like. So we're just going to run with it and see what happens. So I need to clear these bits off. Now, while I'm clearing the kettlebells off of this wing, by the way, if you're wondering what this wing is and what the model we're going to be looking at in this episode, this is the fine blade. I will have a separate video out on this at some point in the very near future. And the model we're going to be looking at today saved me $133. And that model it's called a DF White Shark. Now, why did it save me $133? Is because the Reptile Dragon version 2, the one which has either a T-tail, normal tail and an alarm on the phone, or a V-tail, would cost me $216 to get it here to the UK. Now, I know many of you which are in the US or maybe in Europe, you're not getting butt raked on shipping, or, well, that seems to be a little bit stuck. Ooh, where are we stuck to? I'll put over out of the way, is that it has been cheaper for you. But for myself here in the UK and those else of you which are in the UK, there's just no way I'm spending that much money on a model. So instead what I did is popped over to AliExpress and bought the DF White Shark, which was considerably cheaper, to say the least. And this is the first look at it. So let's get her open and have a nose. Now, I am opening this box upside down because obviously it's got delivery details on the top. So I have no idea. Oh, well, first impressions, double boxed. That's always a good sign, especially for items which are coming literally for halfway around the world. So let's get this. I'll see if I can get this one out. Come on. Double boxed and already open. How curious. And internally boxed. They are actually, oh look. So someone's already been in here. Now that's curious because it was supposed to come with 2 motors and we've got 1, so hopefully a second one in there. A nice little thing which I didn't even notice in the advert is that it did come, and they said that it would come with 2 extra motors as a gift. Whether I actually use this motor or not is a whole different ballpark, but it does come with what I know is, well, VGA connectors, but these are actually quite posh. These are pretty damn good actually. I tell you what, my reservation with these, those of you which know me well, I've never been a fan of these connectors, but that does feel, wow, really good. There you go, those are the 2 connectors. So that's the male connector and that's the female connector. And they've got power lines in them as well. I do like that. And there is 9 pins inside of there, which is absolutely brilliant. The Daft, let's mention names. The Sonic Model AR Wing Not Very Pro only comes with 6 pins, which is somewhat useless for normal wiring unless you do some funky stuff and put too much current going back through your ground pin. Whereas this, they've got full 9 pins, which gives you absolute flexibility on the other side. So I do really like that. And if we do take pause for a moment, so to take a look at the other side, on there, if it will focus, soldering onto the back of here is going to be an absolute joy. I do like these connectors. So I tell you what, for this build, I am going to use those connectors, and will, because they do seem to go so well. My biggest concern is always them coming apart, but yeah, I'll use them for this build and we'll see how they go. So with that said, let's see if I can get ourselves in here and have a nose. Right, so we got 2 boxes and I'm super curious. I've only seen, and oh yeah, we do get a second motor that was hiding in there, so thank you very much to the guys who sent this over. By the way, I will put a link to this model in the video description so you get exactly the same one which I've been and ordered and get the same listing, and you should get the same free 2 motors as well. So this one is literally all in parts, which I'm fine with. Actually, I really do like it when you get parts sent to you which are completely separated, and I know that makes a slightly longer build, but it does give us absolute configurability when it comes to the actual configuration of the model itself. So that is happy days, right? So we've got two parts of the tail. This does remind me an awful lot of the Orbit, and yes, that is very, very, very curious. So, but there are some differences to this in there. Let's see what else we've got in here for the fuselage. Brilliant! Right, and I genuinely do mean brilliant, because it's in separate parts. So that when I put this together, or when you get to put your model together, is that it does mean that you get more options when it comes to the setup. So for example, if I want to, or you want to pre-make a little plywood board in there for your flight controller, you can do. I also immediately taken a liking to this because of the lock-in mechanism back here for the wing as well. One of the things I wasn't that impressed about the Orbit wing was A, the quality of the foam, but B, also that the wing mechanism wasn't the best in the world. And actually, when Andy went on to smash his up, is that it did, yeah, break at the wings too. One thing which I am a little bit surprised about, and I did think this fuselage was going to be a lot thinner, if I'm honest. Maybe like the fuselage on that, dare I say it, the you know the one, the bottom feeder with the absolute tool. It's underneath my desk. I'll grab it. That's what I was expecting, to see a slightly thinner fuselage like that. But with this one, it is much, much deeper. So yes, you will be able to carry way more battery than we expected. You would be able to fit a 10,000 milliamp for 4S pack in there. Very, very simple, and an absolute shed load. Well, I'll tell you what, industry standard 5200 4S pack in there. You would be able to fit a load in there. You could double those up, put them on the side, maybe put 3 in there horizontally. So the fuselage is way bigger than what I expected, which, if I'm honest, it's a good thing. I would have liked it smaller, but more battery, happy days. Although I've got to be brutally honest, I really am into my Lion packs now, and I probably will end up running this one with a Lion pack as well. It is a topic for a different day when it comes to current usage, etc, etc. But I am favouring the Lion battery packs. We've got a collection of motor pods. We will take a look at those in a moment. There's some covers. I'm going to put those to one side. We got the tail system, which we saw a few moments ago, which is happy days. They have actually included some ventilation holes in there. That's always a good sign. Someone has actually been a fault about it. The elevator surface is going to be a curious one. I need to take a quick look at this, because my instinct would be to mount it for them the wrong way up. And the reason for that is my instinct is to do that so that the control surface is not underneath the tail surface, and of course doesn't clip on grass, etc. On every single landing, whereas they've actually done it up the other way. The hinges on the back are good, don't get me wrong, they are very, very good, although they are also very, very see-through. There's me looking through across to the window. They are absolutely fine. But I've got to be perfectly honest, I'd probably either put some laminate at least onto the leading edges, and I may run some blendum tape at least on one side of this elevator surface, just for peace of mind for myself. The one thing which I haven't seen is now just been popped up in front of me, is the rudder surface. A nice little key mechanism for that to go in there. They have been included the hole for the servo cable, and then for that to go up to the side. We do have a bag of goodies, we'll look at that in a moment, but that seems a decent surface in there. And again, you'll see, if you look really closely, you'll see that hinge, is the word I was looking for, is probably a little bit too see-through. So yeah, that will definitely get some blendum tape over that as well, but a meaty tail to say the least. Right, we've got a canopy as well, so I'm just going to put those bits to one side, and I am desperate to see in the other box to see what we've been and got in here, because we should have the wings. Now, what did I do with that knife? It's been a leg lick, so we're going to have to use a tent peg by the looks of it to get ourselves in here. Well boxed. And that's peace of mind, and the reason being is because, like I said, it's got to come halfway around the world for me to here in the UK, and we know, let's be fair here, unless your name's XUAV, who still to this day, 3 years on, use the same shitty packaging for their XUAV clouds, after they've been told many, many times that your packaging is shit, and so models frequently turn up damaged, is that most of the packaging from these companies now is actually really, really good. And we've just been seeing this one turn up from, I would say, a much smaller manufacturer than some of the other ones. And they've been able to get the basics right, which is double packaging and some extra cover on the actual items themselves. Right. That really did bug me. My XUAV Clouds, still to this day, has the imprint mark in them because they just couldn't choose decent packaging for... now that's going to be curious. Okay, right. I was here thinking, so this is the understanding of the wing, there was a tear off piece of foam here. I did see some little covers for those sections, which I'll get to in a moment. And actually they've got the distance about right as well. So quickly taking a look at these wings, we're going to have a bloody great big control surface in there, and the aileron surface is really, really weak. So I'm just tapping the camera over that right hand side. So yeah, 100% I am going to put some Blendum tape down there. I don't think they're going to fall off in 5 minutes. I just think for peace of mind, because it's flying over my head, as I'm sure you would do the same if it was flying over your head, you would put some Blendum tape or at least some laminate down those wings on there. Oh, also, just a really daft point, those two sockets which we saw a few moments ago, that is really decent. That's 4mm plywood which they've got on the end here as well, and it looks like we've got a spar kicking around which I haven't seen yet. Must be in one of the boxes, or I've chucked it out on the table somewhere. We are missing a... oh, well, there was a place for a spar in the fuselage, second spar in there to keep the wing in place, so we'll look for that later. Coming back to the wing itself, decent control surface. We've got the wire line in there for the frustrating. That my only peeve right now is that they have been include that little plate in there for me, which is very frustrating, because I'm sure many of you would like to have the cables in there without joins and stuff, so you're gonna have to run the cables back that way, out the side, solder on, and then put it back in. I always, to be honest with those connectors, I'll probably run servo connectors in the back of there so I can replace things if I need to, or very easily as the case may be, or it may be in your build you're just going to wire straight into the back of the wing connector and go that way. We do have this slot which goes over here. Unlike the not very pro AR Wing Pro, where they put this recess right out on the wingtip, so it basically gave no appreciation for anybody who runs R9, any of the receivers or video transmitters. Basically it was so far on the line, on the end, you would have to bend the antenna around forwards or backwards, whereas this one you can literally run it straight out to the end. So I do like this. They have got the placement right, and we can see there's a bloody great big spar running up underneath there. Putting it up to the light, that is the only spar in the wing, but there is very, very little twist. There you go, I am really having to force that. There's very, very little twist in the wing, and there is this funny little curve on the end of the wing just to twist the air down, so that we've seen that in many, many models before. Now getting onto the motor mounting, this is a twin motor mounted model, so we've got our top piece up there. So, and it's nice that we've got a key in there too, so that gets keyed in there. We also have a bottom plate. There doesn't seem to be a left or right, which is also happy days. I've seen that on other models before. We've had to put the left one on the left one and the right one on the right one, and I've also seen someone glue them up incorrectly, so these do look like they're independent of sides. Now the one curiosity is that we do have, and do we have them in, we do have very, not the best in the world, Velcro ties. I'm sure I've got some other ones which I can use to put a Velcro tie up underneath there, so you can mount your ESC in underneath the wing. Oh, that is credit where's credit's due. due, should I say, it is nice that they've been and keyed these two sections in. You'll see that there's recesses in there, and then there's male parts on there, and that's not coming off easily. If I hold it, if it was glued in there, that's not coming off easily because we do have a key on the top and on the bottom, and pegs for teeth for them to go in there. Bottom mounted ESC, happy days. Because of the size of it, you would be able to fit, like, say, a standard 30 amp ESC in there for a plane, or maybe use a quad ESC and be able to get that up in there and the extra wiring, and then that's when you've got the cable which comes over the top, the little Velcro strip to hold it in, and plenty of cable in to go in there as well. So that's happy days. Brilliant. So I tell you what, let's go and get this thing put together, and we'll have a quick nose and see what it's been like on there. Unfortunately, I do have a bit of damage on mine, even though you saw how well packaged that was. Brilliant. And let's put this together. Again, all nice keys which you've got in there. It'd be really nice if I had some tape to try and hold this together, but I've literally no masking tape left from a previous project. We'll see. Let's get this put together. So which way round is this? It's a fair old size. I'm not entirely sure on the Wingspan, but any grumbles aside, I would like to just put quickly into perspective, because it did cost, in the scheme of things, is, which way round does that go? There we go. In the scheme of things, I'm super happy because I've been and saved a fair chunk of money, and I've got to be honest with you, I didn't really like the Olber bird that much, and hence that's why I gave it away. But I did fancy a twin, but I did. Yeah, look at the size of that fuselage, that's huge. It could really do with being half the height, and because that is a massive payload area in there. You don't really get to appreciate the depth. I do have a ruler, there we go. So that front bay is approximately, we'll say, on a good day, 2.5 inches deep, and that's like usable height. And I'm allowing a 1/4 inch for the lid. We'll go up somewhere up there. We'll go 8 inches by approximately 4 inches wide, 8 by 4 by 2.5 deep. That is a huge payload capacity. So those of you looking for some serious range, I think you're going to probably find it with this model. We do have a little lid which sits on the top. There are points on here which looks like there should be some fins in here for the lids. They've also got the lids put in the right way round as well. Which model was it? It's one of the Volantrix Ranger models where the lid goes in the wrong way round. You have to put it in like that. And the amount of lids which I've lost lids and canopies off models before, extremely frustrating, especially when it's as simple as putting the key on the front, so the wind is always pushing the lid down, and there are 2 holes in there for magnets too. So plenty of options when it comes to mounting a HD or FPV gear on the top, although we are up in the nose, and there, single hole already made for us. Not the most aerodynamic noses which I've ever seen on a model, although with that other piece of turd which we saw a few moments ago, that actually flew absolutely fine in the sky, to be brutally honest. And let's get this one in and up. Now there is a carbon tube which we did have. That does key in there really quite nicely. We've got a collection of goodies in there. One of them is a carbon tube to go through the centre of the model. We've got our motor mounts, and yeah, happy days. It is going to take longer than a normal build, should I say, because there are lots and lots of parts. But like I said back at the beginning, I'm personally very happy with that, because it gives me, as it would you, maximum options when it comes to the orientation and the setup of the model, where you put your kit, because maybe like with if those of you think about an XUAV mini Talon, for example, having the whole fuselage in 2 pieces is actually a huge positive, so you can actually get the ESC mounted up on the tail. And looking behind me, the mini Talon is behind me. So if you have your ESC mounted up here, trying to retrospectively put an ESC in that position is an absolute nightmare. However, if you build your model and put this in manually beforehand and then glue these two sections together. Absolute child's play. And by the way, that is the best position for the ESC. Loads and loads of airflow over the top of it to keep it cool, as opposed to putting it inside. And I've seen and heard of multiple models melting, basically going into full meltdown because you've been and put your ESC inside of a nice little foam compartment and then given it absolutely zero airflow. So always get those ESCs up in maximum airflow. Moving on, there's our bay. Whether I use that at the front for the battery or at the back, I'll probably use it at the front for the battery, and I'll create my own to go in the middle of the fuselage as well. What else have we got in here too? So that's got to be one of the canopy lids, which I may or may not have forgotten. Oh, yeah, that's going to be that one there. Yeah, little handle, like so. Very, very simple. In fact, that's gone in there so well, probably don't even need to put any glue in there, so that's happy days. Collection of the parts. We have been and received the control horns and push rods in as part of the kit. There are a collection of other wooden parts. That'll be for the larger canopy near the back of the model, so that'll be that. We got a double mount motor mount mechanism, which is what we saw on the Bird. So we'll stick those away. Collection of all these plates must be for the mounting. So I grab that surface there. So we glue in some laser cut plywood. So we glue that in there and glue that into the actual surface itself, and then we screw in. So hopefully we do have a whole raft of screws included in the kit, which is always super helpful, so that we can then screw in our control horns in here, and they are directly in line with the servos as well. So that's happy days. It looks like someone actually spent the time to put this thing together. We also do have the holes, or the mounting holes for in here. Again, for that wing connector, whatever I've done with it, so that we're able to put this together and glue that inside. And I also like, and it's just a practical point, is that on the wing we have this huge plywood piece which we're going to screw in and put our connector in there, and then a tiny bit of common sense, you'll notice that the plywood piece isn't on this side, is it? It's on this side. So, and there is some foam between it, so when we're pulling our wings off, it's not pulling them from the outside edge, which the glue is going to give up over time. Is that we only need a tiny piece of glue, because I've got that stuck in there. Oh, not that stuck well in there. Is that we've got maybe a centimetre, say half an inch of foam down in there to stop that piece of plywood coming out, which we have the connector screwed into. So that's common sense. Again, nice to see. We've got a screw on the top, which I assume is for one of the lids, which I didn't notice or pay attention to. I don't know which one that one's for. We've got a curved piece of plywood which would go up on the top of there. Again, whether we wanted a pan and tilt mechanism on here, which I think frankly would work fantastically well, or if you wanted to put your HD camera on the top, that would also work. Or maybe if you're using something like a hybrid together. Another chunk of plywood. Put these pieces in. Another plastic, because that's curious, and I've not seen the bolts for those, so I'm not entirely sure where those go at the moment. And we have also included the little clevises too, collection of screws, tons of magnets. Happy days. So yeah, it cost me, oh, and we also get a little flight controller standoffs too, so that's happy days too. And a chunk of carbon which goes in the middle, which would glue in there. So that would go between the fuselage, and of course then the wings go in as well. It is curious that there is a hole here, and there is, I must have missed it in one of the boxes. Let's have a look. That's what that piece of cutout wood is for, is that we do have a physical plywood support there as well for a spar to go through the wing. But he says, in inverted commas, A, I haven't seen a spar in the kit, and B, I'm not entirely sold that it's a full spar. I wonder if I dropped it somewhere. I don't think that's going to be a full spar, as in that it's going to go into the wing. I think it's only just going to come out this far, just to lock the wing in, if that makes sense. Although we did see, if I'd chosen the right wing for the right side, is that there is that nice key mechanism just there on the fuselage, so that that wing isn't going to twist that much, he says, on there. Oh, and I've just realised what the screws were for. The screws. It suddenly hit me. Those plastic screws are, now it makes sense, I would assume, to go in there. And then that's how the wing is held on. It isn't a separate spar, and that's why the wings are detachable, and that's how the wings don't fall off in flight, because you have the plastic thumb screw in there. And I'm sure some of you watching this were like shouting at the screen or shouting at your iPad, going, "Matt, no, you're a tool." Anyway, that's what those thumb screws are for, and that's what those holes were for. So there you go, that is the DF White Shark. First impressions, thumbs up. Reason why I'm saying thumbs up is that the foam is nicely molded. It's not soft foam. Using a direct comparison to the Bird, that model foam really did feel very, very, very soft, to say the least. And I think I said that when I first opened it. It was blatantly obvious it was a very soft foam, although they said otherwise. Coming back onto the topic, the actual kit itself, I like that it's all been completely separated. The only one thing, my only little minor niggle, is that I'd prefer if that piece of foam wasn't stuck in there. Is that for any reason for me to be upset, etc.? No, not really. I just push the cables through, solder them up on that side, and it would also be plenty of room for you to tuck some free servo connectors up underneath there. I do like the motor mounts. They were well thought out. They are keyed in. They're not going anywhere at all. I also do like that I got 2 free motors with this kit. That wasn't something which I was expecting. I don't even know what KV they are. In fact, if you would like to know more about these motors, I'll put links to them in the video description. I'll put a link to this item which I bought off AliExpress in the video description, and of course they may or may not include them in the future. And I've just been read on the side. They are DFRC 2307 1450 kV, which isn't too bad actually. That's not a bad choice of motor for a model like this. There is the you could run this model with 2300, 2306 motors, like the 2305 style motors. That would work for sure. Or something like this, which is mid-range KV. Stick it on 4S with, say, just looking at those windings, and not the biggest windings in the world, maybe with a 6-inch prop, maybe 7-inch prop with these free, for all intents and purposes, for me, they're free motors, would potentially work quite well. Or I do have other motors, but I would always be tending to go on the Aileron on this side of a lower KV, like these 1450 down to maybe 1300 KV motors for a model like this, because that keeps the current draw down. But that's my personal choice. You could increase the KV, maybe run it on 3S for example, and still have exactly the same amount of fun or range as the case may be. Those of you which were going up to something like 5S or 6S, you're going to want to go right down in KV to get the, because your voltage is much higher, as I'm sure you would be aware. You would probably be around about 1000 kV for your model like that. So am I impressed? Yes, I am. Am I looking forward to it? Hell yes. I can't wait to get this one built. Really, really straightforward in the scheme of things. And I think the one thing which I'm going to take away as a positive, sorry, 2 negatives. I'm going to say the surfaces, the hinges are not the best in the world. And it's very, very simple, and to counter that, it's very simple to counter, which is that if you were laminating your wings, you'd put a laminate hinge in there anyway. Those of you who don't want to laminate your model, you could put just a piece of Blendum tape down there, sellotape it, worst case, down underneath the hinge, which by the way, sellotape would always work on the best on the bottom of the model so it doesn't get sun damaged, or reduces sun damage, if that makes sense. I didn't like that piece in there, but on the flip side, I do like that the foam is half decent quality. It's a decent wingspan. I got it for a really, really good price, and I like that that's where the bay is. I would have to cut this out, not necessarily for a crossfire receiver, that would work absolutely fine, but for the video transmitter, to be brutally honest, I'd mount it on the top anyway, so I'd get the cables coming across and then mount the video transmitter on the top, but the placement in the wing is absolutely fantastic because that is about the right length for most antennas. So happy days, there you go, that is the DF White Shark. Questions, comments, and let me know in the comment section underneath this video. Don't forget to press the subscribe button if you'd like to go on to see the build overview and the maiden in this model, which will come out in approximately 1 to 2 weeks time. And I am going to be a little bit hesitant there, just for other things which I've got going on here at the moment. But also, right now, it's 32 degrees out here in the UK at the moment. However, on the weekend, it's supposed to be thunderstorms and just basically rain for the entire weekend. So it might actually be a very quick build because the weather's going to be appalling and we're going to get out to flight next week, so it could come a little bit sooner. Anyway, questions or comments, let me know in the comment section underneath this video. This model, yeah, I think it was just over $100. No, it was not $100. It was $83. Now I remember. It was $83 with 10 days or less shipping from AliExpress. It was here in well under 10 days. I want to say 7 days, and that's me being, that's 7 days with a weekend in the way, because we're on a Thursday now and I ordered it last week. So yeah, in a week. In short, direct from China, happy days for $83. And I got 2 free motors, which don't seem to be absolute dog crap. And I might actually use them. In fact, I will use them. I think I said that earlier. And I will also use those strange wing connectors wherever they are as well, and see how well they work out. I have been a little bit hesitant on those. Oh, somebody will ask me, oh Matt, where can I buy these? Again, I'll put a link in the video description to the listing where I bought this model, because you can buy these wing connectors or these power connectors separately in there for, I want to say, about $12 off the top of my head, which is that if that's going to make or break a build for you, I think $12 is not a lot in a big C. So there you go. With that said, for myself, Matt, a big thank you from myself for joining me here at the workbench to look at the DF White Shark. First impressions, thumbs up. And on that note, for myself, Matt, cheerios!